Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursalin, Sayyidi Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima. Wa la hawla wa quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal hakim. Alhamdulillah, we welcome everyone to this first term life lesson for this year 2014 here on Seekers Guidance. My name is Abdullatif al Amin, and I will speak with you just briefly about some adab and some points that we should all understand when seeking knowledge online. And I was asked to speak on 3 points, inshallah ta'ala. The first being the possibility, can one reach the high level of knowledge while studying online? Second one, how does one maximize the benefit when studying online? And 3, how can one manage their time to prepare for these classes? So alhamdulillah, we were able to study some online, and so we will talk about some things that we saw seem to be of benefit. So on the first point of the possibility of reaching a high level of study online, this question is it possible? The short answer is yes, it's possible. And one of the things that we should understand is that the knowledge isn't sought in and of itself. So whether one's studying fiqh, whether one's studying aqidah, the Arabic language, these other sciences that help with one's understanding of the religion, the knowledge isn't sought in and of itself, but the knowledge is sought as a means to getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is the objective. The objective is not to memorize things. Even standing in prayer, the prayer isn't sought in and of itself, but the prayer is used as a means to getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there's a famous hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that many of us have probably heard, and something to reflect on is when he mentioned, is in the sound collection of Sahih al-Bukhari. He said, whomsoever Allah wishes well for them, He gives them fiqh fi din. Yudillahu bihi khayrun yufiqhu fi din. The whomsoever Allah wishes well for, He gives them deep understanding of religion. So one should understand what it is one is doing, and it's something, this knowledge is something that is held in high esteem by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, something that was held in high esteem by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, something that was held in high esteem by the Sahaba. So this knowledge isn't to be taken lightly. So can someone reach the high level of seeking knowledge? It's possible, but what does it take? It will take one to be dedicated. It will take one to be consistent, be dedicated, be consistent. And the third point of possibility of one seeking high level is to consult, right? Dedicated, consistent, and consult. Because one may be dedicated, one may be consistent in studying and reviewing, which is key. And many of us, we fall down when it comes to consult. Who do we consult? As Sheikh Farad has mentioned, we've heard him say this over the years, consult those worthy of consultation, right? Consult those worthy of consultation. So if we're wanting to study the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we consult those who we see have benefited from study, those who have traveled the path, to consult them, right? And what should I be studying? What book should I be reading? We should be consulting our teachers and what have you. And as they say, the one who knocks at the door once gets nothing. So we keep asking, but you ask with adab, and you ask with bearing in mind that the teacher's busy and what have you. But you keep asking if it's of benefit. Like they say, anything worth having is worth struggling for. Anything worth having is worth struggling for. So we contact the teacher by whatever means that has been facilitated for us, whether it be the email, whether we see them in person, what have you. But we ask, right? And if I asked it, and we've heard people say this before. Oh, I emailed the sheikh once and he didn't respond. La 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 la. Keep asking if it's of benefit. This is the knowledge of of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and of his Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So this is what we can mention about the possibility of reaching high level of studying online as possible. It will take this dedication, consistency. This dedication is something that is very, very important. Dedication, and to the point, this is something that I do myself, but alhamdulillah. So dedication, if we have a class, whether it's online or in one locality, one doesn't miss class. One does not miss class. Doesn't matter which sheikh, which group, what function is going on in one's locality. One doesn't miss a serious student, but not miss a class. Doesn't matter who is coming, right? Who is coming. One should never miss a class. And if something happens, because life circumstances, one tells one's teacher, "Oh, please excuse me, I had X to do." But our way would be, that would have to be like an emergency, not, "Oh, I'm going to tea with the brothers or the sisters," right? Be consistent, be dedicated, be consistent, and consult, right? And how does, the second point is, and I kind of mentioned this already, how can one maximize the benefit online? It's the same. It's the same. One of the things that we fall down when we're studying online is we have all these other windows in our browser open. We're tweeting, we're posting on Facebook, we're reading about this article during the class or the lesson that we're listening to. How to maximize one's benefit is to cut out distractions. Have an area. Have an area in one's home that is dedicated to one's study, because one understands the seriousness of what one is doing, right? So one takes it serious. One cuts out distractions, stays off social media, and one takes the class as if one is in front of the teacher. Right? Inshallah ta'ala, if we were in front of the teacher, we wouldn't have our phone out tweeting and doing all things. So one understands the ta'zeem, the exaltation that one should have for the knowledge of the religion. And again, the knowledge isn't sought in and of itself. We're using the knowledge as a means to getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one has to cut out distractions, right? And take the class as if one is in front of the teacher, right? And if one has children, alhamdulillah, we have children. So have a time if one's listening to the lesson, but have other activities where you're not being distracted. So this is how some 2 points that one can maximize the benefit of the class is: take the class as if one is sitting in front of the teacher, right? And understand the exaltation of the religion that one is having. And this knowledge is very, very important. It should be taken important. There's a chapter heading in the collection of Sahih Bukhari. He says that the chapter heading is knowledge and qawlun amali, that knowledge comes before speaking or acting, right? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions all these different traits in the Quran. For instance, He mentions establish the prayer. How does one establish the prayer? Without knowledge, one is unable to establish a prayer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentioned have taqwa of Him. How can one have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if we don't know what taqwa is? And this is only knowable through knowledge. So this knowledge is important. So we have to maximize the benefit by taking the class seriously, being as if we're in front of the teacher, and cutting out these distractions. The third point is, how can one maximize the time to prepare for the class? Is to do just that. Prepare, say, like now, alhamdulillah, there's some recording. There's a break in between one of the classes that Sheikh Faraz is teaching, the 40 Hadith of Imam al-Nawawi. So what should one be doing at this time? One should be reviewing, and one should be reading ahead. Say one is, let's take this class for examples, 40 Hadith of Imam al-Nawawi. One should read ahead. One should know the text. Like if someone was to ask, which hadith are we on? The day before the class, we should be able to say we're on hadith such and such is related by such and such, right? Know the narrator. We don't just show up to the class. That's something we should understand, how to maximize one's time. It's not just to show up for the class and just expect to pull out the USB port. It doesn't work like that. Right? One has to put forth some effort and put forth the struggle and have a committed time for one's class and have a committed time for review, right? Review. This is key to maximizing one's time when preparing for the class, right? Because it helps, because the knowledge builds on each other, right? You just take one class, it builds from another class, so we don't just show up, right? So this is important to maximize the time and not think, oh, I'm going to school. Not think, oh, I'm going to work. I don't have time, right? We have time. But we don't have time. But we'll go to 2-3 movies a week, 2.5, 3 hours each, or however long they are, right? On Facebook for so much time, right? But we don't have time to prepare for the class. This is important for us all if we seek to benefit from any class that we take, and we know any success that we have, it's not ultimately from our struggle, it's ultimately from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and have a proper intention. Why am I studying? Why? And we should write out these intentions. Verily, these are by their intention, right? What does that mean? It means it can mean different things to other people. We should know that this intention should ultimately only be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anything we gain is from His tawfiq, is from the success from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from our works. But we work, but we seek His help, and consulting is key. We should be constantly consulting our teachers and reach out to them and take classes as if we're sitting in front of the teacher. And take the class as if we're in front of the teacher, and consult those who seem to have benefited from it. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to take this deen seriously. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to act on the things that we know, and for Him to forgive us of our shortcomings. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam taslima wa alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.